Welcome back to our Storytime channel tonight. We're sharing a touching story that reminds us how small moments can teach the biggest life lessons. This is a story about family, kindness, understanding, and the quiet power of love. So dim the lights, get comfortable, and enjoy tonight's story, the story of the burnt toast. When I was a child, around 8 or 9 years old, my family lived in a small, quiet house on the edge of town. It wasn't a fancy house by any means. The paint on the walls was beginning to fade. The kitchen floor creaked when you walked across it. And during winter nights the cold wind sometimes slipped through the windows. But despite all that, it always felt warm. Not because of the house itself, but because of the people inside it. My father worked long hours at a local repair shop. His hands were rough from years of fixing machines and carrying heavy tools. My mother worked at a nearby factory packaging clothes. She often left before sunrise and returned home after dark, exhausted from standing all day. Money was tight back then. Some nights, dinner was simple, just soup, bread, or eggs and rice. But somehow my parents always made our small meals feel special. Even though they were tired, they still smiled. They still asked me about school. They still laughed together at the dinner table. At the time, I didn't fully understand how difficult life was for them. I was just a child, but one evening changed the way I saw my parents forever. It was a cold autumn evening. I remember sitting at the kitchen table doing homework while listening to the ticking sound of the old clock hanging on the wall. Outside, rain tapped softly against the windows. My father had already arrived home from work and was reading the newspaper quietly. His work boots rested near the door, covered in dust and grease. A few minutes later, the front door opened. My mother walked in slowly. I still remember the tired expression on her face. Her shoulders looked heavy, and her eyes seemed exhausted from the long day. She gave us a weak smile before placing her bag on the counter. "Sorry I'm late," she said softly. My father smiled warmly. "We just got home too." Without taking time to rest, my mother immediately began preparing dinner. I watched her move around the kitchen slowly. Usually, she hummed while cooking, but that evening she was unusually quiet. The rain outside became heavier, the kitchen filled with the smell of toast cooking in the old toaster. But suddenly, a sharp burning smell spread through the room. Smoke rose from the toaster. My mother quickly pulled the slices out, but it was too late. The toast was completely burned, not slightly brown, not crispy. It was black like charcoal. For a moment, the kitchen became silent. I looked at the toast, then at my mother's face. She looked embarrassed and frustrated. Her tired eyes lowered toward the plate. "I'm sorry," she whispered. She placed the burnt toast on the table alongside some eggs and butter. I remember staring at those slices, waiting. As a child, I thought surely someone would complain. I expected my father to say something like, "These are burnt, can't you make another batch?" Or maybe even laugh about it. But he did in single quotes T. Instead, my father simply picked up a piece of burnt toast, spread butter on it, and started eating calmly. Then he looked at me and asked, "So, how was school today?" "Just like any normal evening," I answered him while secretly watching his face, wondering if he actually liked the burnt toast. My mother sat quietly across from us. Then she finally said, "I'm really sorry. I burned the toast." And I will never forget what my father said next. He smiled gently and replied, "Honey, I like burnt toast." I was confused. Nobody liked burnt toast. It tasted bitter and dry, but my father ate every bite without complaining once. That night, after dinner, I brushed my teeth and got ready for bed. But I couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. So before sleeping, I walked to my father's room. He was sitting on the edge of the bed reading a book under a dim lamp. I looked up at him and asked quietly, "Dad, do you really like burnt toast?" My father looked at me for a moment, then smiled. He placed the book down and pulled me close with one arm around my shoulder. Then he said something I would carry with me for the rest of my life. "Your mother had a very hard day today," he said softly. "She's exhausted, and a little burnt toast never hurt anyone." Then his expression became more serious. "But you know what really hurts people?" I shook my head. "Harsh words," he answered. "Criticism, blame, making someone feel worse when they already feel bad." I stayed quiet as he continued speaking. "You see, son, life is full of imperfect people. Nobody is perfect." He chuckled a little. "I forget birthdays all the time. I'm terrible at remembering anniversaries. Sometimes I say the wrong things too. Then, he looked toward the hallway where my mother was washing dishes. What matters most is learning to accept each other's flaws. Paused before continuing. Real love isn't about perfection. It's about patience, understanding, choosing kindness even in small moments. I listened carefully. At my age, I didn't fully understand relationships or marriage. But somehow, his words felt important. My father continued, in life, people will make mistakes. Your friends will disappoint you sometimes. Your family members will have bad days. Your future wife may burn dinner someday. He smiled again. When that happens, you can choose anger, or you can choose grace. Years passed after that night. I grew older. Eventually, I left home for college, started working, and built a life of my own. As time went on, I began noticing how difficult adulthood really was. Work stress, bills, responsibilities, exhaustion. And slowly, I started understanding my parents in a way I never could as a child. I remembered my mother coming home tired every evening. I remembered my father staying patient even after long days at work. Most importantly, I remembered the burnt toast. There were many moments in my adult life when that memory returned to me. Like the time my coworker made a mistake that created extra work for everyone. I was frustrated and ready to criticize him harshly. But then I remembered my father's words, "A little burnt toast never hurt anyone." So instead of attacking him, I helped him fix the problem. Or the time my wife accidentally broke something important to me and looked terrified to tell me. In that moment, I realized I had a choice. I could make her feel guilty, or I could choose understanding. And suddenly, I understood what my father had been teaching me all those years ago. Empathy is not about ignoring mistakes. It's about understanding the person behind the mistake. One day, many years later, I visited my parents again. They were older now. My father's hair had turned gray, and my mother moved more slowly around the kitchen. But some things never changed. That evening, while preparing dinner, my mother accidentally burned the toast again. The smell instantly brought back childhood memories. She laughed nervously and said, "Oh no, not again." And my father, he smiled exactly the same way he had years ago. Then he picked up the toast and said, "Perfect." We all laughed together. But this time, I finally understood. The burnt toast was never really about food. It was about love. About choosing peace over criticism. About protecting someone's heart when they are tired or vulnerable. About understanding that everyone carries invisible struggles. In today's world, people are often quick to judge, quick to complain, quick to criticize, quick to point out flaws. But kindness, patience, empathy, those things are becoming rare. And yet, sometimes the smallest acts of understanding can mean everything to another person. A gentle response, a little patience, a few kind words instead of harsh ones. Those moments can save relationships. They can heal hearts, and they can make a house feel like home. So if someone you love makes a mistake today, if dinner gets burned, if they forget something important, if they're tired, emotional, or imperfect, remember the story of the burnt toast. Because life is too short to spend it angry over small things. Cherish the people who care about you. Support them during their weak moments. And never underestimate the power of simple kindness. Thank you so much for spending time with us tonight on Our Storytime channel. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs a little reminder about love and understanding. We truly appreciate your support, and we can't wait to see you again in the next story. Good night, and take care.